So for today's short sequence, we're going to begin as Ange is here in Supta Swastikasana. Crossing the legs, palms turn up towards the ceiling, neck long, and just steady the breath. Let's interlace the hands here across the tummy, turning the palms up toward the ceiling, straightening the elbows. Taking the arms away overhead to your full extent. Raising the arms and releasing them down. Let's change the fold of the legs and change the interlace of the hands. Turning the palms up towards the ceiling, gripping the elbows, just settle here. Let the knees fall away, release any tension in the front of the hips, the feet, the ankles, and then taking the arms away overhead, again to your extent. It doesn't matter whether they go a long way or not. Let's work to keep the arms straight, just starting to open up the spaces between the ribs, lengthening from the base of the skull all the way to the tailbone. Inhale to raise the arms back to the vertical and gently releasing the arms down. Helping the knees to come together now. Let's roll to the side and come on up. You're going to find yourself a chair or something to put your leg up onto. So it could be the height of a table, your lounge perhaps at home. So just taking something that you can work towards. So have the chair down an inch. Beautiful. And taking your right leg up onto the chair seat. So we're working Pandangustasana 1, 2 and 3 this morning. Let's bring the hands to the hips. And I just want you to look down at your left foot and encourage the ankle bone to be placed underneath the knee and hip. And press the four corners of the right foot away, stretching the heel, but then drawing the leg back into the hip socket. So balancing the pelvis as best you can, lengthening the tailbone, pubic bone towards the navel, and the spine gets tall up through the crown of the head, shoulder tips back. Inhale to raise the arms up by the ears. If you wanted to keep the hands on the hips, stick with me, but we set the legs. Strong, steady, and just bringing an equal amount of work into both of the limbs, but also the arms. Straighten the elbows, stretch into the fingertips. Keep length in the spine. Softness in breath. Releasing the arms down and gently releasing the legs. Change. So Pandangustasana 1, left leg. Check in on the right foot, the standing foot. Ankle underneath knee, underneath hip. Grip and lift both knees to firm the thighs, the tailbone gets long. Pubic bone gently lifts towards the navel. Spine nice and long and tall, lifting up through the crown of the head, settle the shoulders down away from the ears. Inhale to raise the arms up by the ears. Releasing the arms and the leg. Change. We go for Pandangustasana 2. So we're going to take the right leg and place
the foot onto the support, whatever you're using. Don't work with anything too high that's not allowing you to work the legs well. So the right toes here point straight up towards the ceiling, in line with the middle of the ankle, shin, knee and thigh. The left foot here, toes point towards the long edge of your mat so that the outside edge of your foot here is in line with the short edge of your mat. Then from this point, we press into the four corners of both feet, grip and lift the knees to firm the thighs into the hip socket. The tailbone again moves in to lengthen the spine, pubic bone towards navel. Lift the spine up through the crown of the head and settle the shoulders down away from the ears. From here, you can take the arms out to the sides in line with the shoulders. Stretch out into the fingertips, or you can stay with me and keep the hands on the hips if you feel that this is challenging enough for you. For those of you with arms out to the sides, should you wish, you can turn the palms now up towards the ceiling. And then raise the arms up in line with the ears. To open up the side ribs, the armpit chest. Again, just check the shoulders are settling down, away from the ears towards the waist. Releasing the arms. And the leg, change. Left side. Left toes point straight up towards the ceiling. Right toes point forward towards the long edge of your mat, outside edge of the foot in line with the edge or the short edge of your mat. Four corners of both feet. Grip and lift the knees to firm the thighs. Tailbone lengthens or moves in. Standing tall. Encourage the head to be in line with the spine. Shoulders down away from the ears. Taking the arms out to the side in line with the shoulders. Find a stretch here from the center chest, all the way out to the fingertips and beyond. Allow the shoulders again just to settle down away from the ears. Keep the steadiness, the firmness of the legs. Turning the palms up towards the ceiling. Raise the arms. Pandangustasana 2. Keep the length of the spine, the opening of the armpit chest, the softness in the throat, the jaw, the face. Releasing the arms and the leg. Change. So we turn back to face the chair now. You'll need a belt or something that you can use to reach towards your right foot. Now, if you are on cycle, you will stay in the first position. You won't come with us today. You will stay. Otherwise, let's bring the belt or whatever you have there around the ball of the foot now. And let's hold the belt in two hands to start with and just check in on your standing leg first. Ankle underneath knee, underneath hip, standing tall through the spine. One straight line from ankle to crown of head. The arms are straight. Now you've got some resistance underneath the ball of the right foot, so you can press the ball of the right foot into the belt to lift and grip the knees, to firm the thighs, to neutralize the pelvis. We want to maintain the actions of the legs here. So we're going to bring the belt together into your left hand. Keep the work in the legs. Let's bring the right hand to the hip for now. So as I said earlier, if you are on cycle, you will stay with the belt facing forward. Otherwise, you start to come with us. You lift the spine up through the crown of the head as you stabilize or firm the legs once again. We rotate on the axis now. So we move the right shoulder tip back to open the chest. The right side ribs move back, the left side ribs move through. And then if you feel stable, you can start to extend the back arm in line with the shoulder. and look over those back fingertips, the right fingertips down the length of the arm. Alternatively, you can stay with me, hand on the hip, but really working the rotation of the ribcage. Pandangustasana 3. Bring the back hand to the hip. Inhale, release out of the twist, change. Standing on the right leg, left leg comes up to the support. Take the belt, split the belt to begin with. Standing nice and tall. Check the outside edge of the standing foot in line with the long edge of the mat. Press the left big toe mount into the belt to create resistance in the legs, to draw the thighs into the hips. Stabilize the pelvis. Lift the spine up through the crown of the head. Good, let's bring the belt together now into the right hand. Left hand comes to the hip. If you're on cycle, you stay facing forward. Otherwise, keep the work in the legs as you start to peel back now through the front of the left shoulder. But you want to keep moving the rib cage. So left side ribs move back, right side ribs move forward or around towards the left leg. If you're taking the arm out, follow along with Ange. Otherwise, stay with me. Keep the legs steady. Observe the breath here. Has the tailbone slipped up towards the shoulder blades? Move the tailbone in, lengthen the back ribs or the spine. Keep the legs steady. The spine lifted. Bring the hand to the hip. Inhale to release out of the pose. And the legs. Good. Popping the belt down. We're just going to step forward towards your chair and come into Pandangustasana. So step the feet hip distance, outside edges of the feet in line with the edges of the mat. And I want you to stack the shoulders over the top of the wrist. So step the feet in a little more, Ange. Yep. Good. Press into the chair. Grip and lift the knees. So I want you to see if you can move the front of your thigh towards the back of your thigh, pressing the sitting bones towards the wall behind you. Keep length in the lumbar. Now as you anchor the legs here, you anchor the hands as well. The dorsal spine moves in and you draw the front of the chest forward. So it's like we're stretching in opposite directions here. The legs stabilize, the arms stabilize, but the spine gets longer. Ange is going to stay. From here, for those of you that want to go a little further, we can take the head down to the chair seat and stretch the arms down towards the chair or the front of the chair legs or your support or the floor. But at the same time, I want you to keep length in the spine. So we're keeping the legs active, the thighs pressing back. And then inhale, come on up out of the pose. Well done. We're going to pop chairs away. You'll need a three-fold blanket of support to put underneath your sitting bones for a seated forward bend Paschimottanasana. So today, take as much height as you need. I'm going to take a cushion. Angie's taking a three-fold blanket. Have your belt in reaching distance, just in case you need it. Stretch the legs for Dandasana. Bring the hands either side of the hips. So you want to make sure that it's just your sitting bones on the front edge of the support to allow the pelvis to become a little more neutral. Okay, the spine is long. The legs are active just like you had them in our Pandangustasanas. Grip and lift the knees to firm the thighs. The spine gets taller through to the crown of the head. Inhale to raise the arms. First of all, we're going to come forward to either catch the feet or you can use the belt if you can't quite get there. Keep the legs active.
And we're going for a long spine. So keep the legs firm, pressing into the sitting bones. You want to lift the spine up through the crown of the head with the straight arms. Pull back on the feet, press the big toe mound away. And then for our forward bend today, it's not about getting your head to touch your legs, but rather can you keep the length of the spine and go forward. So if you're going forward further, we're going to bend the elbows now and come into your full pose. So it's really not about, the spine giving way and the head dropping. We just want to go to your extent where we keep the legs in action and a nice long spine. Pandangustasana. We go a little deeper with the next out breath. If you can, keep the work of the legs. Stay with the breath. With your next inhalation, come on out steady. Inhale, raise the arms. Releasing the arms down. Let's lie out for Shavasana. So take as much or as little support as you need here. Come on down. If you've got a few extra minutes today, now is a nice time for you to put the video on pause and take as long as you need. And just pull yourself out of Shavasana whenever you're ready. Otherwise, we come down for a short Shavasana today to finish off this sequence. So come on down. Closing the eyes. If you need support for underneath the legs, head on top of you, then you take that. Gently bending the elbows to bring the hands back to the abdomen. Bending the knees one at a time. Making your way to the side. Support the head as you come. And making your way up Sitting in crossed legs or on your haunches, facing forward. Take as much support as you need. Join the palms, closing the eyes. Namaste.
Namaste.
Raising the head, releasing the hands. Thank you for joining us.